Hun, we're back, episode 2.
Episode 2.
Okay, so you can find us at acouplethoughts.com. That is our website. You can check us out there. You can find us on all the platforms. And this, of course, if you're watching, our YouTube channel, which is A Couple Thoughts Podcast. Hun, in Texas, the bugs are like, they're like military helicopters.
Yeah, it's bad. And the sticky thing.
Yeah, so we have this thing out here right now that's happening where I guess there were cicadas or katydids or
I didn't hear.
I can't remember what the bug is, but they released this kind of gooey, and it's in the trees, and it's in our and now the leaves are falling, and the leaves are covered in this goo.
Yeah, everything. So every time we come and go from outside, our feet, our shoes are full of the sticky
leaves. So we have sticky leaves everywhere, all over our couch, all over our floor.
Yeah.
And so it's really kind of
gross,
foul.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's not great.
So we're sitting here on our couch.
We're trying this out.
Yeah, we're trying this out.
We're trying to figure it out.
We're trying to figure it all out. You know, we've been trying to set up the for older folk. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you're trying to sit, and then you're like, how do I sit? Do I want to, I mean, if I'm on a couch.
Do I let this big fat knee on camera like I'm doing now?
I like your big fat knee.
Like, do I 2 big fat knees? You know?
So she has an on-camera audition that we're going to do later.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about what it is or whatever, but this is the daily trials and tribulations of being an actor.
I don't know about daily.
Nah,
it's not. I mean, I haven't had this. What has it been? A few weeks since I've had an on-camera.
Yeah, no,
audition.
That's true. I've had a couple. But so we got to get that out there.
Yeah,
we got to get that down.
I put on makeup. I put on makeup for everybody too, for the podcast. Mm-hmm. I put on makeup, which is going to be hard for me doing this.
Yeah. So, again, over the last few years, we've become accustomed to just kind of.
We've both stopped doing makeup.
We both stopped. I stopped using makeup at least 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
I figured I didn't have to pretty myself up anymore.
When I give up hair, that's when it's really going to be bad.
For me. Wow. My wife likes to tell me all the time that I'm bald.
No, I don't tell you that. I don't. You say it all the time.
I'm the sexiest bald person you'll ever meet, ladies and gentlemen.
True.
Okay. So anyway, so now as actors, and this is just kind of within the last 3.5 years, started that fucking pandemic. So everything was like at home. So we had, not only did we have to learn, our lines and everything else, which I'll get to in a second, because we've been figuring out ways around that. But we also had to become tech wizards.
Oh, it's just my kryptonite. I'm not tech girl.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, I know, and I know that we've been together for years now, and it's funny to me because so you have to set up your phone, your camera, right? You have to set up your camera, and then you have to, of course, have someone off camera reading with you, and then you have to know your lines, but you also have to get the lighting right, which I'm not sure I even did for this podcast.
My lighting is better.
Your lighting is a lot better.
It's natural light.
Natural light.
Yeah.
I've got some ring light that I stole from my son, Cade. Sorry. I took it. He left it in LA. It's mine now.
I have to say this about the self-tapes, though. Mm-hmm. We're both actors, so we're actually really lucky that we have a scene partner.
That is true.
A lot of actors, they either have to go pay, to go to like a self-tape joint, but we have each other. We're really lucky in that regard.
That is no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's a huge help.
It's also interesting that, So now, the other end of this is that, so you do your self-tape. Now, it used to be you'd go to a studio, you go to Warner Brothers, you go to CBS, you go to, fucking Sony, wherever the fuck you went, you'd go and you'd walk in a room, there'd be producers in there, director maybe. And so you do the scene once. If they wanted to see it again, they'd have you do it again. Now it's not like that. So, but you also knew then that you were being seen. Right. So now you're in this kind of vortex where it's like you do it. You ship it out to your agent, via, usually Google Drive, and that's how I do it. And then they upload it to whatever platform the casting director, I know this is all very confusing, but they upload it to whatever platform the casting director wants it on. And then you go, well, did anyone watch it?
We don't know.
We have no clue.
We don't know. I mean, and That is very, very frustrating because
Yeah.
it's like I have had some of my what I consider my best auditions, this year, right? Like, and stuff that I would give my right eyeball to play
Don't
on.
give your eyeballs
No,
because
I
yeah.
mean it's an exaggeration.
Oh.
But really, like these are projects that I really would have loved to have done.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of them even saw it. And so there's no feedback and it's just a real, what do they say, a vacuum. It's like auditioning into a
Yeah,
vacuum. It
you
just
just
gets
kind of throw
sucked up into the ether,
yeah.
never to be seen again. And it's really like you start to feel so isolated
Mhm.
in this
Yeah.
industry because you don't know how you're doing.
You don't know how you're doing, and, the other thing is that, like, that's why I was actually a little shocked when I was when they did check my avail for that gig,
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
because I was like, "Oh my god, they watched it." They
Yeah.
watched my
Right.
audition. Same thing with voiceovers now, so, like, her and I, we do voiceovers. She does the cartoon angle
I
majority,
don't do
but
anything
I'm
anymore.
saying in general, when we were
Yes.
working,
I
I would
audition all the
do
time
yeah,
for animation. All the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
I
of
do not
course.
book. I haven't booked anything new in years.
Well, here's the interesting part. So I'm more of the commercial aspect. Like I had some commercial campaigns that I voiced. And the wild thing is that now we both have a ton of voiceover auditions, which is great.
It's
But
great.
it's like trying to throw a dart at a fly
Well,
flying around. It's like,
it's a very insular, is that the word? It's an inside industry. A
yeah,
lot of the same, and this is the same for on camera too. It's the same people working over and over again.
over and over again. Yeah, yeah.
So you have to find this lucky slip in, because if they're not listening or
That's what
seeing
she
your,
said. Oh boy, this took a turn,
yeah,
ladies and
it
gentlemen.
did, and you were one to do that. You were off to do that. But yeah, it's like 3 decades in this industry, and I don't know how to get back in.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's wild because we're so, for those of you that don't know, I mean, a ton of you. Now, let me start by saying this: the YouTube channel that we're posting to, right? That was
Yeah.
originally that Lorraine sketch thing that we did.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You gotta give them a little bit.
Well, see, okay, so now, so I know that people that were following that channel,
Yeah.
they were expecting more Lorraine
Well,
stuff.
yeah,
Oh, you're getting it right here,
this is
folks.
it.
This is it. This is how it goes now. This is it.
You're cute.
God, you're cute.
That was
So
okay.
it was originally that my wife and I decided to do this thing where Lorraine moved into my house or whatever the fuck that was, and that was a couple of years ago. We stopped, but now we're taking it over for this podcast. So if you want to listen, if you want to watch, you're more than welcome to fucking do it. If not, if you're still looking for Lorraine videos, I don't know, put on
They're
a
out
fucking
there.
wig and
They're out
do it
there.
yourself. So, but I forgot what the point of this
Yeah,
was.
I know. See, that's the thing. You go on these tangents,
Well, I'm supposed to. It's a
and we can't get
podcast. We have
back.
to
And
talk.
I don't have the brain capacity anymore to help you remember. No, I don't. I don't remember yesterday. I don't remember this morning.
It's funny. It's like there's times when I'll be like, "Oh my god, like, did I eat breakfast?"
You always eat breakfast. You eat like, rest assured, like the kitchen is your friend.
Look, food is my thing.
It
I love
is.
it. I love to cook. I love cooking.
You cook for me.
I cook for
And
you every day.
without you, I wouldn't eat. Because I have a weird relationship with food.
Yeah.
I eat to survive.
Yeah.
Like I do. I eat to survive.
I watched you drink a quart of queso at the bar we went to 2 nights ago.
I was hungry. I do get hungry, so I ate the queso to live. But
Wait a second. That's
what?
okay. All right. I know. Okay.
But that's true. That
Yeah.
like I'm a grazer.
Yeah.
You are sweet enough to put a meal in front of me. I know you hate that word meal, but
it's a disgusting word.
I
It's
don't know why. A
worse
lot of
than-
people
than-
don't like it's like meal and moist. Why don't people?
Moist is the
what's
worst
the big
word. It's
deal?
the worst fucking word.
It's just a word.
Oh, I can't fucking stand it.
Oh,
It's like
relax. You get
nails
so-
across a chalkboard.
People get so riled up about it.
Riled
up.
But yeah, so back to the business. It's like, we're both okay. So and for those of you that don't know who the fuck I am, I'm an actor. I was on a bunch of stuff and most, the King of Queens back 300 years ago. I played Mr. Pruzan, Leah Remini's boss. and everyone pretty
Why
much
are we
knows
giving
who
our
you are.
IMDb? They can go to IMDb and look
I
this
know, but
stuff
some
up.
of these people are like, which leads me to this. Which leads me to this. Here's a comment we got
Okay.
from our first episode. I'm going to read it. I can take my glasses off to read it. That's what happens.
Interesting.
So here's a comment. It says, this is from someone named Basic Breakfast. Oh, I like a basic breakfast.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm a very basic breakfast girl.
You love that. A couple eggs, a piece of toast.
Yep.
Sourdough toast.
Love it.
A little bit of butter.
Yeah, fake butter.
Fake butter. Here's the comment. Okay. Says, I don't know who this Scooby Doo guy is. We're going back to preschool, I see. But he's effing up one of my all-time epic crushes on Mo Collins, Goddess of Comedy.
Wow.
Oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that I'm effing up your crush on my wife.
Why does that have to get in the way of the crush?
It doesn't. But now I'm a guy and I'm responding to it.
Yeah.
As if he or she, you never know, was standing right in front of me.
It's true with me.
I'd say, oh my God, I'm so fucking sorry. You know what I mean?
You can still have your crush.
So what is your response to that? Scooby-Doo, which is, fine. I get it. I've been called that for, 57,000 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got a great name.
Skuby.
Yeah.
I do like that name.
But, I mean, this doesn't screw up the crush, It doesn't have to.
No, it doesn't have to. Basic breakfast.
You can still have a crush, but I am, married and getting older. So just keep watching those old videos. Keep watching the old stuff before things got shriveled. Yeah.
Now, I do want to bring up something. We're moving past the comment, and there's another comment I'm going to read a little bit later. So stay tuned. So you had some interesting stuff happen on social media.
Gonna talk about that, huh?
Well, I mean, we don't have to. But I think
yeah, I had a rough day. I was accused of being racist.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Twitter is there's not a lot of words that you can put into a comment, and my stuff got misconstrued.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand that they misconstrued what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say was back, around the time like I was doing Mad TV, what was acceptable back then, it just was. I mean, it wasn't good, a lot of the stuff. And this is in regards to the whole Sarah Silverman blackface video that was out. And blackface, let me say this to be clear. Blackface was never okay. It was never funny.
Never okay.
My comments were just trying to say, not to excuse, but that the edge was different then, and people didn't rise up about the material like we do now. It's good that we are now. It's good that comedy has moved to a place where we check ourselves differently. But there was a different line back then. I was just trying to comment on that. But it was taken as I was saying it was okay back then.
Which it wasn't.
It wasn't. In the same way, if I was saying back when, Al Jolson did blackface, it was bad then. Like, it's always been bad. That stuff has always been bad. But unfortunately, back then, and we're talking 2007 even, shit was still happening. The shock factor was just a real way of doing. I mean, but let me speak from experience. Like, even some of the stuff we did on Mad TV back then, I was uncomfortable with. I was uncomfortable with some of it. But it's like, for instance, if there's a Black writer who's written something and it's their point of view, right? Mm-hmm. And so maybe there was something I felt uncomfortable doing, but I did it because I knew that it was their perspective and their voice, and I think that was important. But Doesn't
Well,
mean
it's a rock and a hard place too. It's
it
like
is.
comedy is always kind of bending the rules, and
Yeah.
it's just how it is. I mean, it's always been that way. And and a lot of times back in the day, I would listen to stand-ups and go, "Ooh, that's not good. You shouldn't
Oh,
say
yeah.
that." But at the same time, it's like, look, I know my wife for years now, and it's like I know for a fact, 100%. She has no racism in her, none.
I
So,
have white entitlement.
well, white entitlement, how can you escape it
I
when
was
you're fucking white?
born into it. Now, I
You
was,
can't,
like lower middle class growing up, but I was born into white entitlement.
because you were white. You can't
Exactly.
escape being
So,
white.
you know,
I mean, that's
I
just the way it
can't,
is.
but I have definitely been listening and doing my part in trying to hear what it all means and to change my course. And I guess just regarding like the whole fucking Twitter thing, it's like, you know, I I apologize for being misunderstood and not wording things correctly so that it was clear.
Well, it was a touchy okay, so let me jump in here. It's a touchy subject, and it just is, and it should be a touchy fucking subject. Um, the hardest thing to do. And listen, I'm specifically just going to talk about being a white person because I don't know how to talk about being any other color because I'm not. But the hardest thing to do is show support and say like I love humans in general, right? If you're a fucking white guy and you're an asshole, you're a fucking asshole. If you're a black dude and you're an asshole, you're a fucking asshole. If you're Hispanic, down the line. But it's hard to say the things that you want to say and try not to include color in it because when you're not thinking about color, you're just okay. For instance, I put out stuff all the time about how much, and on TikTok, on Twitter, wherever I do it, about how much I fucking despise the Republican Party, right?
Yeah.
And the vast majority of them, almost all, are white men. A couple white women in there. I fucking hate them, right?
Yeah.
I put out a post about Clarence Thomas, right? He's a
Yep.
fucking asshole.
He needs to go.
He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
Put it
Compromise the
out there, and
courts.
then all of a sudden, I had people saying that I was a racist because I called Clarence Thomas a scumbag. And I'm like, wait a second. I call everybody a scumbag who's a scumbag. Everyone. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know how
No,
to do it.
it's
I don't know how to do it.
it
I don't.
it's a tough conversation to ever go into. And depending on who you're talking to, you're saying it right. Another person says you're saying it wrong. But it doesn't mean not to step into it. Like, look, I'm here to learn. I am here to continue to, you know, be an advocate and be an ally. Now, even though I was told that I wasn't, that's
Yeah,
fine. That's how you see it. I'm sorry you see it that way. Doesn't mean I'm not going to keep doing my part in standing up for equal justice for all and the reforms that need to happen and end fucking racism.
Yeah,
Like
so I don't think racism's ever gonna end in our life.
well, that's why I was crying yesterday.
Yeah, she was. We went out to lunch. I looked back at her. We were ordering at this window
Yeah.
at this joint, and I looked back to see if she wanted fries or something, and she's got like tears in her eyes, and I'm like, "What the hell is wrong?" Like out of nowhere, I was
So
like,
I
"What
don't
was wrong?"
cry. I don't cry. So, to have real
Yeah,
tears
it
coming
was.
out of
It
my
was.
eyes means that something is really
And
wrong.
then, of course, what did I want to do?
Well,
I
you
wanted
wanted
to
to beat
jump on
everybody up.
Twitter and
I
fucking
know.
go, "Hey, fuck you, assholes!"
That wasn't going to help.
No, it wasn't. But I wanted
I
to do
took their
it.
advice and shut the fuck up. But
But again, it's social
that's
media.
where I got
It's like,
sad too, because it's like I don't want to shut the fuck up because continued conversation helps me to learn about it. I don't know. I did shut the fuck up because at that point it was like there was no getting out of them seeing how I worded
no,
it
once it's
wrong.
in their minds, once it's
And
it's
that's the
set. They're
danger
gonna
of
do what they
Twitter.
want, and plus, it's social media.
But I got the thing that made me sad then about it. And the reason I was crying was because I became full on feeling hopeless about and thinking that, I'm 57 years old.
Wait,
And
what?
yeah.
Oh,
And I'm really struck and sad that I may never see any of this be better.
No, you may not, and I may not
and I
either.
just was so like, we're never going to be better.
No, and our kids may not, and especially like I want to say this because I wholeheartedly believe it, is that if it all comes back to this shit, man. Look, I know racism has been around since way before you and I existed. Way before.
Oh, yeah.
We all know and have heard the horror stories of the disgusting humans who perpetrated this
it's awful.
shit. It's awful. But but I'm talking currently right fucking now.
It's awful.
If it is awful, but if the continuation of this shitty Republican government stays in office. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Biden was a racist. He's a racist. He actually said, I mean, and he did say this. If you don't vote, what is it? If you vote Republican, you're not black or something like that.
Yep.
I can't remember.
Terrible
the exact
messaging.
Quote. And it's a terrible message to say. And he's a fucking idiot for saying it.
Yep.
But I will say this. If the Retrumplican party remains in power, we're all fucked. We're all fucked.
No,
and
true.
And it's for everything. It's not just...
no, it is for everything, and
not just racism. It's women's rights.
I don't know exactly when this podcast goes up, but I mean, it may be too late for some people to register to vote. I would urge you with everything in my being to check your voter registration, because that's the other thing is a lot of people are, especially in states like Georgia, being purged who believe they are registered, and they found out in the primaries that they'd been purged. So protect your vote.
Protect your vote. Which I want to read this comment. This is from, I got to take my glasses off again. This is from Schrodinger's Snuffleupagus. I have no idea how to say it.
A long one.
Just fucking, you know what? Can we break that down? I mean, that's a long.
What do they say?
Okay, here we go. Before you reflexively attribute something to the patriarchy, you should actually research it. There are actually good reasons why the periods of female... I'm going to reread this part. I'm rereading it. Let me do it poignantly. Not even the right way to say it. Anyway, here he continues. There are actually good reasons why the periods of female athletes are tracked. And it has nothing to do with evil Republican men trying to arbitrarily control them. I'm going to disagree with that. And be real. There isn't some generalized effort to control women or restrict their choices. There is merely one choice that people, both men and women, mind you, are attempting to restrict, and that is whether or not women should be able to have the unborn lives inside their wombs killed. There are definitely scenarios where it can be argued that exceptions should exist, but the vast majority of abortions are elective. I'm going to say one thing, and then you can take this.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this.
My position is changing.
All of what you just said sounds very intelligent, and it was intellectually written, and I commend you for that. But I'm going to jump in and say this. A woman's right to choose should always, and I don't give a fuck what the reason is, should always be first. The women's right to choose. Always. Now, whether you think that's murder or whatever the fuck you think, I personally don't give a fuck. It should always be the women's right to choose. There, I said it.
All right. Let's go back to the first part of that and period tracking and why it's good. Yep, period tracking. It's been a thing with female athletes for quite a while. And the reason that they say it's good for a woman to track her period is because performance is enhanced depending on certain points of the hormonal calendar, right? Now, let's go to what they're doing. They're making it mandatory in Florida for female athletes. They cannot be on the team unless they have this period tracker put together by a company called Activate, which is not...
Period tracker.
It is a period tracker, or it's put onto that. And again, it has nothing to do with HIPAA, which is your privacy to your own medical information. So great. If a woman wants to track her period for the purpose of checking her hormones, let's just get right to the point. It's nobody's fucking business, her period. It's nobody's business. If she wants to share that with her coach, that is her personal business. This is the thing. Nobody's coming at men saying, we need you to track how many times you ejaculate. Because guess what? That apparently has a lot to do with performance too. But they're not being mandated to track their ejaculation. This is about tracking women's periods in the state of Florida, because if one of those female athletes misses her period, they're going to look into it to see if she has broken the law in that state and take due course against this woman. That is why it is a problem. It's not period tracking. I had a period tracking back when I had a period. I used it for my I did. I used it for my own personal health reasons. It's nobody else's business.
No, it's not.
This is why it is wrong. And regarding abortions, let's talk about this. Yep. There's most of them are choice, and most of those choice ones happen in the earlier weeks, up to 13 weeks. Now, of course, you got the HIPAA fucking critical Republicans saying, well, we decided it's going to be after 15 weeks you can't get an abortion. Well, guess what? What you are going into there is tragedy. When a woman is past those weeks, chances are she's hoping to have a child. Guess how I know? That's happened to me twice. I have had abortions. I have had abortion care. One was a miscarriage, which I sincerely was hoping to be my son's sibling. Now, in some of these states, they want to arrest people like me or the doctor that performed
Fuck them all.
The DNC, right? The other one was an unviable pregnancy, which was also kind of not my choice, right? Like it was apparently dead on arrival, but still living in my uterus. Bottom line on all of it, it's none of your fucking business.
It isn't, but
what choice we make with our uterus.
It's not, and I want to say this too. So, again, with these fucking idiots out there, these fucking morons, they say things like, once the baby is conceived inside the womb, it is
they're killing them
soul.
up until the day of
life.
birth. No, that's not what's happening.
I'm fucking sick of this shit.
If they say
it's murder.
It's
oh my God,
up to the day of birth. You know what that is? Can I tell you what that actually is? It's not an abortion. It's a stillborn. It's a fucking tragedy. Stay out of our choices. We're not coming after you about your dicks and your balls. We're not. The other thing about
this dude fucking wrote
the
this comment
hypocrisy of it is that the
up.
GOP talks all about we're the party of freedoms. How is it even possible to say those words when you're literally coming into our junk and putting laws on it?
And then they want to bring it. And then, the other thing is, they're talking about, and I'm going to bring it up again. I'm going to bring it up every time until these motherfuckers are gone. They're bringing up bringing religion into our government. It's the same shit. It's all the same shit.
But it's hypocrisy anyway. It's like Herschel Walker, the big evangelical party,
15
hands on him, saying prayers and everything because the media is coming after him about having paid for an abortion. But not the fact, what happened to calling people who did abortion killers? How come he's not a killer in this moment? And that just points up the hypocrisy. It's really just about the power, people. They want power over you. They want power over your choices, your marriage, your gender. Your books, your fucking books that you want to read. Look, if you don't want to have an abortion, if you don't want to read a book, you don't want your kid to read a book, how about be that parent that sees the books that your child is reading and help them decide what's good? If you don't want them reading one of those books, then don't. But there's some other child that they need those books.
Don't say gay.
To help find out who they are.
I want to move on to this part of this comment because this is where I just
the comment wasn't done. It keeps going?
Well, no, this is in the middle. We kind of just jumped.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Schridbinger, Snufflepuss, whatever that name is. He says, or she, I don't know. I think it's a he. It's got to be a fucking he.
What is it?
And be real. There isn't some generalized effort to control women or restrict their choices. I'm going to fucking disagree 6,000% on that. I am literally going to tell you, and I'm here to tell you that ever since the dawn of man and up until now, men have been doing nothing but trying to control women. And it goes on and on and on. It's the same old fucking song. So
it's not just in the States here too. I mean,
glad we brought up this comment.
Look at the incredible women in Iran. Let's say, with their the scars, the Habibs, is that what they're called? And it's like, I am so loving watching their rise up.
Oh man, and they're
their revolution.
They
and
are
by
heroes,
the way, we
man.
all need to join in that, because
man.
it is if we allow it in one place, we're saying it's okay everywhere. And the more we let the government here in the States control women like they're doing, and it is pretty general when you say you're taking laws to take away the right to our own uterus choices. That's pretty general. Like all women, anybody
specific.
I mean
it's specifically it is
horrible.
In general specific. I mean it's look.
But
so this is the kind of stuff.
It's about freedoms, and that go ahead, reread that Constitution. It's literally in there.
I want to say this though. I do want to say
personal freedoms.
People, so folks out there who leave these kind of comments and say these things, like I don't know if you're a good person or a bad person. I mean, from your comment, I could sit here and judge you from that comment. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
No.
Although in my head, I'm kind of judging. So what I'm saying is this: I don't know if they spit this shit out of their mouth holes because they're afraid that it is true and they're trying to tell themselves that it isn't.
I don't know
what I'm saying. Or do they honestly listen to everything going on around them and not surmise that it is really happening because it is? I'm
I
not
don't know,
sure where that falls.
It makes me sad to think that a lot of these people that do this, a lot of them, if these laws, if Roe v. Wade is permanently, if the GOP is back in the Senate and they do a federal ban on abortions, I shudder to think what will happen to a lot of these people when people they know and love will find themselves in a really bad scenario, whether it's pregnant from rape, whether it's, an unviable pregnancy and they want to keep that dead fetus inside. Yeah, so gross, but it's a real sticky wicket. Just, let women make their choices and let doctors help them with those choices. If you don't want an abortion, don't have one. You don't want to be gay married, don't do it. Like, you don't want to read that book, don't read it. But if we are really going to stick with the Constitution and the real ideals about America, which is about personal freedoms, it's in there, personal freedoms, then we have to let these things be. And we have to let our neighbors do that. Just let them do
just
their
stay out
thing.
of everyone's fucking business. Like if you just because you don't fucking think it's right that two guys get married or two women get married or they want to love each other or even have kids. And by the way, a couple of my friends, including my sister, who's married to a woman, I see nothing but love coming out of them and for their daughter, by the way, for their daughter. And if you got a problem with that, you got a problem with me. So fuck off. So let's take a break.
Well, we should probably calm down.
Let's calm down. Let's bring it down. I know, that went on for a while and I get it, but we're passionate people.
We are. Okay. I'm interviewing you now. Okay, so you married an older woman.
I did. Have you met her?
I've seen her in my mirror occasionally and reminded that I'm 7.5 years older than you.
Yes, 7.5 years, but you are beautiful.
You tell me every day and I thank you.
Well, it's the truth. That's why I say it because it's true. Yeah. It's I never thought of it that I just never think of it that way. And I don't think, we joke about it.
We do.
Like you say, I'm 57 and I'll say, what? Wait a second. What?
Yeah.
But I don't really think about it that way because I feel 60. So I feel older than you. I mean, if you want to be honest, like sometimes I wake up in the morning, my ankles don't work.
I tried to warn you,
You did for a long time.
Before we were married. Like, I was like, it's gonna get different for me. It's gonna get different.
It's gonna get different for both of us. You're just doing it faster than I do.
Yeah.
See, I'm still I'm 49. All right. I'm going to be 50 in December.
Yeah.
And, there's still things that I'm like, there's a lot of times I'll be like, I want to kind of go out, like go grab some nachos and a beer or something. But I see you and you'll be on the couch, like, on your cell phone or watching, fucking Rachel Maddow. And I'm like, I can't, she's not going to want to go. So
you can always ask. I
just don't like being rejected.
Wow. Is that why you got with an older woman? That's yeah.
So the key to our marriage has been and always will be laughter, and we've talked about this. And once you stop laughing, it's done.
And communication. It's like, I try and tell you when things in my old body are breaking down, and just kind of warn you. And,
like when I try to push your knees up to your elbows, and you're like, they don't do that anymore.
Or if I'm riding you or something.
Whoa!
Like,
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a podcast.
Say, and I get up and I can't. My knees, it's like we have to carefully remove the wife from the husband.
Just like get the jaws of life.
I know it just kind of takes the jaws of life. Especially after an orgasm where everything's all cramped up anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's wild to talk about orgasms. Like the last, I'd say year, every time I orgasm, if it's a hard orgasm, I feel like I'm going to vomit on you.
But you've been saying that all along.
Maybe it's just, maybe I just have really potent orgasms.
Well, but they're less frequent now.
Well, that's not,
they are. That's part of what I tried to warn you.
We're lightening this up. I'm getting sad.
No, don't get sad. It's hilarious.
But maybe for the listener, not for me.
But, and I know for me, like an orgasm, it's almost a little bit terrifying because the way that, it all flows through the body now, it's like, I feel like there's all these little.
You shake a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrifying. Like as the blood starts to course through the region, it's like, it's a little bit terrifying. It's, cause it's not,
you say it all the time. You say how terrifying it is. It was terrifying. I'll be like, hey, how did it feel? And she didn't say, oh, amazing, right? And she says terrifying. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, all right. So, but I want to say though, like when I have these, and I don't know if our listeners are like, oh my God, or they're like, oh my God. But the truth is like sometimes now when I orgasm, there's this initial like, I mean, we're being honest, right? I mean, why not? Let's be honest. Let's be fucking truthful.
Yeah.
I mean, is that like stomach cancer? I mean, what is that?
No, it's not stomach cancer.
That's good.
Trust me, been there.
That's for another episode.
Yeah.
That's another episode. We're not coming back.
Yeah, no.
So it's hot as fuck here in Texas still, and I'm trying to figure out why. I mean, it's fall, right? I mean, we're in fall. It's like
I think
October,
it's nice out.
12th right now. Still haven't gotten plane tickets to go see my kids. I have to do that. We have so California here is cooling off.
Yeah, they had rain the other day.
They had rain the other day, and it's still like, in the beginning of this episode, I said that the bugs out here are horrible. And aside from the goo that's in the trees dropping down all over everything, you can't sit outside here in Tejas. I said Tejas for more than 23 seconds. And then all of a sudden you're stuck in like a sarcophagus. That's not even a word, by the way, of bug ravaging your skin and trying to infiltrate your soul cap.
I'm just gonna let you keep talking. I'm a little bit bored, but we talked about the bugs.
I know, but I wanted to go back to them because they've been on my mind. It's like it's all the time. And this is where we pause for a break. Hey, listen, guys. So we're on every single platform. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, all the stuff. I can't even think of all of them. The Castbox, there's like 1,000 billion of them out there. We have our YouTube channel, which is a couple thoughts podcast. You can find us there. You can tune in. You can rate us and review us too.
Yeah.
On your favorite listening platform. That would be wonderful for us.
God knows, right? We can take rejection. And
we can take rejection,
criticism.
and we're really bad at taking compliments too. So if you want to compliment us, know that we'll read it and go, "Oh my God, that can't be true. That's not real. They don't like us, do they?"
Taking compliments can be hard. That's something that takes work.
I always love it. Like, so when I did the last play I did in LA, people would come up to me afterwards and be like, "Oh, that was great, and you were so good in it." And the first thing I'd say is, "Well, you were great as an audience member." Like, I couldn't just sit there and go, "Thank you so much." I'd be like, "No, you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We sat there and you watched and you were brilliant."
Is that just part of the like actor mentality that we can't kind of accept?
Have nice things.
We can't have nice things. We can't accept. We're so, I don't know. Well, no, I was just going to say insecure, but, and we are.
Yes.
We're definitely insecure, but
about certain things.
The other side of that is that we both have been doing this long enough that there's definitely a secure level as to trusting ourselves to do the job, the audition, whatever it is. Like, and we've both admitted at this point that we have talent.
Yes, we both have yes, we both have talent
you still sometimes say like, I have no talent. That's why I'm not working. And I say to you all the time, that's not true.
Yeah.
You are talented. It's the industry that is not seeing you, embracing you. But it doesn't mean you don't have talent.
Well, people also need to know this. People who aren't in the business specifically need to know that, like, this business is not based solely on talent. It's based on a lot of other things. Like, you can go in for a role, right? And I've known this my whole career. I can go in for a role, be perfect for the part, and someone in the room, be it a producer or director, goes, "You know what? He looks way too much like my sister's ex-husband, and I can't stand that guy." You don't got the part. I mean, there is little stupid shit like that, right? That gets you. So, whatever, man. It's like, we keep plugging on. You and I are troopers. We have been, kind of career journey people.
Journey people, yeah.
Journey people, right?
Yeah, we're not going away.
No, we're not going away. And look,
you may not see us, but it doesn't mean.
Yeah, no, we're still in the background going, hey, over here, motherfucker, over here.
We're always going to be trying.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's like with this podcast, it's like, we wanted to do something together. We talked about this a little bit in the first one. We want to do something together, and we say, hey, we like talking.
We do.
So why not pick up a couple microphones and do a fucking podcast?
I know, just constantly reinvention of self. But that's the life of an artist.
It is the life of an artist.
You have to be reinventing yourself all the time. It's exhausting. And I'm really, really tired of trying.
Oh, yeah.
I am. I'm tired of trying.
Same.
I really kind of hoped at this point I wouldn't have to try so much. Doesn't mean that like I get a job and I don't put 200% in. I will always do that. But I don't want to have to try to find work anymore.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted of that. I've done everything, from in the trying. Like I've done stand up. I've written one woman shows. I've produced sketch shows, whatever it is. Podcast now. I don't know. I keep trying.
What you just said. It's like artists. That's what it is. It's like you have to be doing something. You have to be like, I had a conversation with Wayne, who I do Zen as Fuck podcast with the other day, and it's like, I love doing content. Now, whether anyone sees it or not, it doesn't really bother me as long as I'm putting out there what I want to put out there, right? Like this, what we're doing right now, like the stuff I do, on TikTok, whatever. It's just in news on TikTok, whatever it is. It's like, does that get, hundreds of thousands of views? No, it gets a few thousand. I'm fucking okay with that. But it's like, I have to be, and every single day, I don't even take a day off. I have to do something every day.
I know you're better at it than me at this point, and this might be back to the age thing a little bit. Is because, like I say, I'm tired of the trying. Right? Yeah. Like I have over 4 decades now. 4
Whoa.
decades.
Wait, what?
Yeah. When I look at content,
Yeah.
now the platforms have all changed, but I have been producing content for 4 decades.
Yeah, and, it's
You
wild,
know,
and
and
that's a long fucking time, and it's exhausting,
yeah.
but this is the difference now. Now with social media, I look at it this way, is that I do the stuff that I enjoy doing,
Yeah.
not stuff that I feel like I have to do.
Yeah.
I literally enjoy
I know
doing
you
this and
do. I
sitting
see
here
you
talking to you, and
get excited. I see
yeah,
you doing your stuff, and
yeah,
it's cute.
it's
No, it is. I
well, it's
look,
fun.
it makes me happy to see
Yeah.
you, being creative and enjoying what you're doing, because God knows we have, 24 hours a day to fill.
So Phil, and and there's also a thing, there's a thing where depression can kick in if I'm
Oh,
not using that side of my brain.
yeah, mine's kicked in.
Well, let's kick it out.